Hi guys, it's Alyssa and welcome back to another Monday Moon Day chat where I am going to react to my 2020 predictions because as an astrologer and as I used to, I guess, try to fit into the spiritual community that I've recently said that I am no longer a part of, I used to do transit predictions. It wasn't that long ago. It feels like forever ago because it's a part of my life that made me cry a lot because it's just not for me. Okay, so I finally made a transit prediction video for 2020 on December 25th last year, and someone asked me to react to it, and actually that someone is Build Me a Spaceship Daddy on Instagram, which every time I say it I just like lol. Anyway, so I'm recording from my phone right now because my camera sound gave out, which is just like so fun because my camera is like too expensive for it to stop working for no reason. And that makes me really upset, but that's okay because the video I will be reacting to was when I lived in a 1-bedroom house with me and my 2 kids and my dog, and I had to film everything on this bed in a very bouncy way because I didn't have any room. So I finally am in a better situation than I was then, which is awesome. But I feel a little bit like in the same situation just because I'm full of anxiety, but my anxiety is for different reasons. And I don't have anything more to say about that. So let's get down to brass tacks here. What's it called? Oh, I want to look at the comments first because the comments have been kind of interesting on this video. Let's see, 4 months ago, this could be a scary year for a lot of people, in quotation marks. Coronavirus, LOL. We all want the crown, but no one wants to do the work. So I guess I talk about the crown a lot. I know my video itself is called the 2020 prediction, the rise of the new queen, or the rise of the queen, because she's not new, bitch. She's been around. Let's see. Coming back to this video now, 3 months later, and mind blown. Couldn't be any more accurate. Thank you for sharing all your work and all your wisdom. Thank you, Self, Medina. Also, I don't really want to read anything from 8 months ago because that doesn't really help me. Except for a little peach right here. I don't know why, but you come off very negative and biased in your readings. I have to unsubscribe. I don't know, the vibe is just off. Well, little peach, I'm so sorry I couldn't sugarcoat 2020 for you. Actually, I think little peach needs to come back and give me an apology because she should know now that I don't think I was being negative in my video. And someone else said 5 months ago, nothing about the virus. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna have to owe this guy's mom an apology because who the fuck raised you? You weren't raised right, all right? Sorry, 7 Trip, but I'm not a mundane astrologer. I'm not a political astrologer. I really do astrology based on like emotions and feelings and spirituality and like where you are meant to go in your personal life. Like I wasn't even looking for a virus because I didn't care to. I'm just not that type of astrologer, and if you were like on my channel you would know that. So I'm sorry you don't know anything about different types of astrologers, but that's not my fault, okay? And as far as these people say down here, I did predict the crown. So okay, let's get into it. Enough of me bitching. It's my little intro. This is actually a song by my sister. I made these intros because I really wanted to make films, which I have been more recently, so that's cool. Not just intros, because just doing intros isn't as fun as doing the whole thing, and I hope to do more, but you didn't ask for that reaction.
You greet me on the phone. This time you're for real. Well, I'm never coming home, 'cause you're never gonna feel.
2020 prediction with Alyssa Trahan.
Hi guys, my name is Alyssa and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about the 2020 prediction. Are we talking about a 2020 prediction or am I predicting for you today? I'm going to be predicting for you today. So, congratulations, everybody.
My face looks really weird. You're probably looking at this, you're like, damn, your face looks exactly the same, Alyssa. What are you talking about? But I don't know, my face looks really weird to me.
2020 is about the divine feminine. Is 2 being feminine and 0 being basically the fool's journey. We are getting the female freeing women and other people who are being enslaved. She's taking them out of captivity. How is she doing this? Well, she's showing
already, like, I'm off to the races with that one.
Her true power, because the Capricorn Pluto Saturn conjunction is all about the diamond in the rough. So a lot of people have been very afraid of this Pluto Saturn conjunction.
So funny, when I did this 2020 prediction, I really did focus, I guess, a lot on the beginning of the year, which is interesting because I talked about the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, but I just know that was the only thing people cared to ask about because we hadn't been there yet. They hadn't seen it. And sure enough, nothing happened on the Saturn-Pluto conjunction that anybody was like, I don't know if you remember in January, but everyone was like, oh my God, there's going to be a war. And then there wasn't a war. Nothing happened until like March. So let's see what I say here. I think I get this right. I'm not sure.
And that's because these people are probably going to be really hurt by it. But if you've been working hard, if you've been just doing a lot of work for a lot of other people, you've been creating things from your heart and other people have been ripping you off, you've been trying your damnedest to get your life in order and people just keep attacking you, this is your year. This is the beginning of your year. This is going to be your decade. This is going to be that moment where you're finally free to really move forward. You're not going to be climbing out of a fucking valley anymore. You're going to be actually using your muscles to climb up the mountain that other people have been able to climb up because they stand on your shoulders, they stand on your back, keeping you down and propelling themselves up. This is a very big year for that.
So I didn't mention the Saturn Pluto, but I'm going to. I know I am. I remember that I do, but that's true. I don't know if you've noticed, but this is true. It's exactly what it is because I do know one thing about the astrology that I know and what I've been aware of. I know what feminine energy is, and so I know what it brings. And what it brings is that the feminine is always on the bottom here, and it keeps pushing down and down and down. And so if you're just kind of staying in your lane, staying true to yourself, other people are pushing you down. But if you're someone who's pushing other people down, this is not your year because these people are going to come up from underneath you. Kind of like when you push down a flotation device and it pops up underneath. Like that's exactly what happens because 2020 is the moon. It's about the flood. So I was right about this for sure because I've already seen this happen.
When you think about Pluto and Saturn together, you have to think about Pluto being control and power, total domination, and Saturn being authority, but also time. So if you put power and time together, what do you get? You get a diamond, right? So a lot of people feel that they can just have loopholes, right? You can get from point A to point Z by standing on the backs of others, not working that hard, putting out sloppy content or sloppy work, using other people to get you ahead.
I get why that girl said I was negative, but I'm also being honest here. This is a huge problem here. Wait.
Have loopholes, right? You can get from point A to point Z by standing on the backs of others, not working that hard, putting out sloppy content or sloppy work, using other people to get you ahead, plowing through people, men and women, to get what you want. You think you can just do that. You also think maybe you can just wish it to happen. You know, if you just do a special spell or law of attraction, you can all of a sudden gain this power that you never worked for.
Can't do that.
And the truth is that that's not how power works. Power will have to be taken from somebody else who's actually worked for it to get to you, because power can only happen with time and work. You can't just snap power into existence. You have to take it from somewhere. So if you are siphoning somebody else's power, this is going to be a really bad sign when Saturn and Pluto conjunct on January 12th, right after the lunar eclipse on January 10th. Okay?
Okay, so nothing did happen then, and it wouldn't have because it's Capricorn and Cancer, so that would have been much more emotional. and it was in 2020. So that's why nothing happened right away. It was just an emotional, like, okay, this is who you are. And that's, I don't actually know if I knew that.
The lunar eclipse is going to be January 10th. This has to do with the completion of the cycle that started July 2nd back in 2019, this last year. This is a 6-month cycle. This is going to complete that. Now, that solar eclipse was all about water, Cancer. It was about going underneath the water to find and destroy all your demons and to rise when the time was come.
Mm-hmm.
January 10th will be a lot of rising of those who chose to destroy their demons. Now, for anyone who wanted to wade over the water this last year, who didn't want to deal with that, who just wanted to be sensitive, basically, and not actually find your power in the sign of Cancer, it's going to be pretty difficult when Capricorn comes into play. It's going to say, wow, you don't really have any power. You don't really have any ability. You don't really have anything. You've just been sort of ripping off other people, hoping that it works. And it has worked.
Hey, Alyssa, you're beating a dead horse here. I was pissed, though. If you want to know why my channel, I tried so hard. So I guess you could say part of this is personal, but it wasn't just personal, and I know that. And I think that I was like aware it wasn't just personal to me, and that's why I put into a video, because as much as anybody would like to say like I do things personally, I'm like, no, I'm actually like, I feel a lot from other people as well. I'm a Pisces rising, and I kind of like I'm in touch sort of with like the way people feel. I just am more so than some other people, not everybody, but like a lot of other people. So I know certain things, and I knew that people just felt taken advantage of, a lot of good people. And so I kept bringing it up. And I think a lot of people agreed with me on that point, but I also do know that I keep saying it because that was a big deal. Like, just anyone who feels like the minority or like lesser, or like they're just working their ass off and nothing's happening. And that's just what I was feeling that 2020 would bring. And so I didn't know how. I guess it was going to happen. We'll find out.
Probably for thousands of years it's worked, but they didn't expect 2020 to happen, right? You know, there's always a time limit on evil deeds, and even if this one's felt like way too long in the making, it's happening. It's happening beginning 2020. So let's look into 2020 for a second. 2 is the feminine number. It's intuition. It's basically the strength of the woman, the divine feminine, the Holy Spirit. It is the spirit of life. It is what this year is about. Now, 0 is the Fool. So it's the Fool's journey. So you imagine that we can also look at 0 as like anything can happen, right? Anything can happen. So you might actually look at this and be like, okay, anything can happen. That means if you've wished it for so long, it can just happen. That's not true. It just means that be prepared for anything to happen. And if you have been working on it for years, you've actually been putting in the hard work, either on yourself or in your projects, they will come into fruition this year. And anyone who's just kind of been laying in bed, having dreams and wishing it would come true, it's not going to happen for you.
Which I feel like is true. It's that part to me. When I was saying this, I was hoping it would come sooner for a lot of people, but I've noticed that it didn't. And I feel like it waited for not just the eclipse, it waited for like the Leo and the Virgo new moon, each little moment in time, because the Leo new moon was exactly 3 years after the big total eclipse of the heart. And then right after that total eclipse of the heart in 2017, there was, well, not right after, a month after, there was a new moon in Virgo, which was set up just like Revelation 12. And so they said that would be when the woman was coming back. Now 3 is 12. So it was like we were waiting kind of for this Virgo new moon 3, because that 3-year mark equals the 12, which is Revelation 12, which is what that new moon was based off of. Numbers are really powerful, and if you're looking into them, nothing's a coincidence, but not everybody likes to look into them. And so I guess I didn't see that part. I just knew that the whole thing was going to sort of shift, and that you really need to expect that nothing you expected is happening, which is true. It's like how I guess when people see it, they're like, oh, okay, so yeah, like every year. But like I wouldn't have said it if it was just every year, and I know that about myself. Not everyone knows that about me, but I would be like, oh my God, expect it's gonna be a crazy year. I'm just not that astrologer who's like predicting every year. I can't believe this is gonna be like so crazy. It's never happened before. Like I just knew that 2020 has never happened before. Like is this far as the numerology goes of this calendar, and the calendar matters because it's what we live in, and we die and breathe and die in this time, and this time is what holds the woman. And so whatever people say about the calendar and that it was created by bad men or whatever for control, it still is what holds us. And so the 2020 year, moon is 2, high priestess 2. That's what I was trying to like say, was like, this is going to be a big deal. So we were waiting for the Virgo new moon to really solidify that you could get things done. But it doesn't mean that like everybody, like there's trial and error up into this point. So I'm totally with me here. I just know that it happened a little bit later than I was even thinking of, I guess you could say.
It just won't. This is not the energy for you, because that would be more like one energy. You're trying to be the magician, but really you got to be the high priestess. You have to be wise and in control of your own self. Not trying to power up or dominate another person to get ahead.
High priestess 2, moon, wise.
So this is going to be a very scary year for a lot of people.
I just realized too, in my intro, I didn't actually pull that moon card on purpose. The moon, when I did the tarot spread, the moon just popped out, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I like it, because it popped out right at my sister's song, like, how to feel, like feel came out and the moon popped out, and I was like, I edited it, and I was like, that looks pretty badass. And so now I'm like, it's just an interesting thing. And as you can see, I have the triple goddess behind me because that's important.
So what do I mean when I say that this is the year of the woman? I mean, this is the year of the queen. The queen is life. The queen stems from the galactic center. She is the chaos, the primordial deity in Greek mythology called chaos, that stems from the galactic center, which is at 27 degrees Sagittarius right now. Last month, well, in November 2019, we had Venus conjunct Jupiter on the galactic center before the Saturn-Pluto conjunction.
Here's something too. I talk a lot about the galactic center, okay? The Jupiter-Venus conjunction on the galactic center. Chaos is 0. 0 is the 2020. So moon 0, moon chaos. I didn't say it that way in the video, but I just know that I was like aware of certain ideas and not other ones at the moment I was doing the video. But the galactic center is actually something we have been passing through the last few months, because the Gemini North Node has been opposite it. So back in, I think it was May, June, July, August, we passed through the galactic center with the South Node, with K2 energy. So as a collective, we went into this South Node, this galactic center energy right after the Jupiter-Venus conjunction, which is pretty cool because it lines up with this.
Now, Jupiter and Venus conjunct once a year, but this time on the galactic center, it meant that something was coming. This is a huge sign for what's to come ahead. It doesn't mean that it would come right then, that this is what's going to happen right away. It just means that look ahead. There's blessings ahead. On the galactic center, the spirit, the divine feminine is coming. When is she coming? Well, 2020 looks like a great portal for her to jump through because of the 2. All of these things are correlated. Numerology, astrology, tarot, everything is there. They're all signs. So when I have this up here for you guys, what is this? The triple goddess. Okay. We have 1, the symbol, the pentagram for Venus, who is divine feminine. We have the moon and the other moon. This is the maiden, the mother, and the crone.
Obviously, I made my videos about the exploitation of the maiden, the abuse of the mother, and the death of the crone in the Kiss, Marry, Kill series that I did for the triple goddess after the solar eclipse happened, while we were going through the galactic center portal. I didn't line that up on purpose. I just had this instinct I should do it because it felt right at the time, because I actually had another idea for a video in my mind, and I did that one instead. Because it just felt very important, like she wanted to be shown, and that just came to me then. And so I kind of like feeling that's really cool. I don't know, guys. I guess I just predicted my future. Sorry.
The maiden, the mother, and the crone all together create all life. This is life, and life experiences pain, hardships, and growth. We all want the crown, but no one wants to put in the work. We all want to jump ahead, and social media has allowed that to happen. It's so easy to just put yourself out there. You don't have to work for it. You can take from people. You can call it inspired by people. You can call it sharing knowledge, but in reality, a lot of people are out in the world right now copycatting shit because they just want to be famous. They just want power, but they don't want to put the effort in. This is about effort. Divine effort that makes life progress.
Effort and growth in life. That's what I was trying to say. There's growth. Everything, when you work off the backs of other people, when you have some people work for you and you kind of scout any of their ideas, or as simple as a pose or an idea or like a business model or something after somebody else, you're not actually going inside of you and growing your own tree. Basically, you're taking the fruits of somebody else's labor and then smothering them on yourself. And that's the idea here, which is true, because now it's harder to do that. It's a lot harder to take the ideas of other people during this weird, chaotic time, because a lot of the ideas now are, they're being protected, they're fading away. There's a lot more of like a mama bear, like the moon is the mother. So mama bear idea over your own creations until they're complete, and then giving them out so that it's very obvious when somebody else takes your stuff. You can't just chalk it up to collective consciousness anymore at this point. It's just too much.
We don't want to be cavemen anymore. We don't have to be. We don't have to have a standstill. The world doesn't have to end. The earth does not have to die. As long as people work hard, care about themselves and the people that they love, everything will be okay. And that's what 2020 represents. But what if you are a horrible human being? Your days are numbered, because she's coming back. We got the 2-2. We got the second coming. The second coming is always female. Second is female. This is divine, feminine, Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it, energy. I'm probably sounding like a crazy person right now.
I always sound like a crazy person. But I would bring up that second coming energy. I haven't asked if I really meant that, the second coming is, like Jesus is a woman. Well, let's put 2 and 2 together here. What am I saying? Yeah.
But this is what it is. So if she's coming back and she's going to be here leading the world as the one thing that allows all life to believe in the one thing being the truth.
And the one thing is also what's talked about in the Emerald Tablet. Actually, I don't know if I talk about that. But the Emerald Tablet by Thoth, sorry, I can't say that because it sounds like you have a lot of lists, Thoth, or Hermes. They don't actually know who wrote the Emerald Tablet, but it's been accredited to different versions of, consciousness. The original mind that created this, that understood the full truth, was always about the one thing, which is also like the Lord of the Rings, the one ring to rule them all is also a big deal, based on that energy.
Now, if you follow astrology, because you're watching this, you probably know a little bit about the Emerald Tablet of Thoth or of Hermes. But in the Emerald Tablet, that's where we get as above, so below. That's why astrology works. Astrology works based on archetypal science. It is not about the moon moving the tides and we're made of water, so we move with the moon. That's not what happens. It's not scientifically accurate. We do not get downloads that tell us to move. What happens is that we are archetypes and we move as an archetype, and every single person reacts as an archetype. And there are different things inside of us that move while the universe moves, because the universe is a gigantic brain and we are smaller brains inside of that. So the exact time that you were born, you actually get where your brain connects to the universe, how you see everything. But since we all are connected through that one thing, what is that one thing? It is life. Divine life that came from the Galactic Center, the womb of all creation, to give us life here on Earth, on Gaia.
I just was pulling some stuff because I was bored of what I was saying. I've made countless videos talking about this. And my podcast talks about this, so that's just like a recap of everything I talk about. But prosperity lies ahead. The answers you need are here. Look at the bigger picture. So that's for you guys right now. Those are the cards while we're doing this. These are the Moonology Oracle deck by Yasmin Bolin. Let the moon be your guide because it's 2020. So look at the bigger picture. Don't look at the details right now, because the answers you need, they're right here.
That is who this is. So that's what 2020 is about. Granted, you know what? You might not see an initial change, and that's the thing about astrology. You have to know that everything is a sign of what's to come. And when it comes, you may not even realize until you look behind you and see that it was slowly creeping up this entire time. And that's a really big thing whenever you're looking at any sort of prediction. Granted, transits do affect you in a really strong way sometimes more than others. Sometimes certain transits, they hurt or affect certain people more than other people. But for the most part, when we feel something, we feel it deeply. It affects us emotionally and spiritually. And then we move forward with that new knowledge. That's why we have lulls where we go inside of ourselves, heal ourselves, fix ourselves, expand our minds, and then we come out with our knowledge, with our progress. Now, if we're not doing that, that's another thing. That means that we're not connected to our spirit. We're in our flesh. We're worrying. We're anxious. We're having issues.
Oh my God, she called me out. Hey, bitch. What's up? Yeah, I've been having a lot of anxiety. I had it. Wow, that's crazy. I know be calling myself out like this. I was in a worse situation when I made this video, but I can tell, listening to me, that I wasn't as anxious as I am right now, which is weird because it does show you, sometimes prosperity and good things, you can almost be anxious of losing them or have anxiety about losing them. When you have nothing, which I really didn't have at the time, you don't have anxiety. You just have this feeling you want to move forward. You want to go forward. And that's kind of a big deal for me right now. Watching that as being come on. I just didn't mean to slap myself in the face. I'm not trying to abuse myself, but come on, Alyssa. Listen to yourself.
We feel like we have to, manifest and meditate them away all the time. And in reality, if you're living your life to the best of your ability and following the ebbs and the flows of what your spirit wants from you, you will live fine. Now,
have you ever seen someone make themselves cry?
Spirit itself comes from femininity. The spirit is divinely feminine. You can go look that up, okay? It's been lost over time as a lot of feminine identity has been lost, but the spirit belongs to the female. Spirituality is a naturally feminine thing.
True.
Women are the spirit. They're the spirituality. They are the womb of creation too. They are made in the image of the spirit. This means that there are men who infiltrate spirituality. And what do men do when they infiltrate spirituality? They use and abuse women. And what we've been seeing, and children, and minorities, what we've seen over the last few years is that these people, these public figures, these pastors, these church people, these spiritual leaders have been called out for rape, for using their power of spirituality against people, against women and children, minorities, homosexuals, whatever they feel is beneath them. Because when men get a hold of spirituality, they have a very hard time not trying to dominate it. And what happens then is that the feminine is dominated. Anything that aligns with the spirit is dominated. That aligns with the number 2 is dominated by the number 1, because the number 1 can't stop itself. The masculine energy can't stop itself from wanting to dominate the woman. So you see, spirituality has to be owned by females.
I agree.
This is not being a crazy feminazi here. I want to let you know something, that this is the only way for the world to get better, is for females to own spirituality. Again, because it belongs to them, because women are the spirit, because they sit at the feet of God and they listen and they observe. Now, not every woman has been doing that, and that's what this has been about too. Instead of women turning to the spirit, they've been trying to be like men and chase down men and end up hurting women too. Women hurting other women with bad information, with being rude, with fighting each other, with serving the man and doing what the man wants. I'm not saying that all men are bad, and I'm not saying that all women are bad or that all women are good. What I'm saying is that aligning with masculine energy will cause you to be hurt in 2020. And that's where the new queen comes in. The new queen, the divine feminine, the true two. The second in command is not the second in command. If you play chess, you will know that the queen can move across the board any way she wants to. It's the king who can't move. When the king is dead, the game is over. That's true. The king is the final kill. But the queen, she's the only one that matters on the chessboard. Why is that? Because she has the power to go anywhere. She is everything. She is the beginning, the middle, the end. She goes where God cannot, because she can fit everything. She's the only power that matters. And that's why men so badly want to be in charge of anything spiritual or religious, because they know the power it has, and they want that power. 2020 is not allowing them to have that power. Now, if you want to know a little bit of more of the transits that are allowing this to happen, we have Uranus and Taurus, a reversal of fortune for the woman, for Venus. Okay, we have that Jupiter-Venus conjunction in Sagittarius at the end of November. On the Galactic Center, the womb of life. We have the Capricorn-Pluto-Saturn conjunction with Jupiter in Capricorn. This is all about rewarding those who work and sending bad karma to those who do not work. Capricorn naturally rules the midheaven, the 10th house. This is about our public persona. But you see, Capricorn is also very karmic. Capricorn lays down the law with Saturn as its ruler. Saturn is karma, it's time. It says, did you put in the work? Did you put in the time? So we look at this and we're like, this is going to reward our public image. Well, yeah, if it's deserving, if you did everything you needed to do. If you used that Cancer solar eclipse back in July 2019 to really get into your emotions and to get into that 4th house, which is your nadir in your chart, and to really work through your emotional issues and heal your wounds and get down to it, so you're not a sensitive little person anymore, that you're a strong, powerful person, that you're using the good side of Cancer, which is not sensitivity, but which is extreme power of water, and you're utilizing that to get out into the world, you're going to find that this Capricorn Saturn Pluto conjunction is like, you did a good job. Come up here. Come rise. Everything's going to be okay for you now. Starting now. I want to reiterate that, because I'm not saying that all of a sudden you don't have to work anymore or something. It's like, no, you're...
There's that feeling of like going through thresholds or portals or something. And I think each person, they hit theirs when they hit it, but this is definitely the year of you do what you got to do until it's time for you to go through. And I think there are people who've been going through and who've been kind of getting to the other side. There's something really powerful even in my own understanding and like what I've been doing. Like for instance, when I did transit videos, you do pick a card, you expect a certain amount of views for what you're putting out, because otherwise you're not putting out, because you're putting this stuff out for everybody else, like trying to help them, but you're also trying to make a living off of it, right? There's an airplane. And when you're making creations from your own heart and you're doing what you want to do and you're enjoying it, you may not get as many views. And you could look at my newest videos, they don't get as many views at all, like not in the least bit. In fact, I lose subscribers for them, but like it's the craziest feeling because I just don't care. Like I feel good about it because I put it out, and like there's like this rush of putting it out, and like 10 people like it, and I'm like, damn, thank you. Like, but when you put out something that's meant to be viewed, that has analytics that should be viewed like this amount of time, and it doesn't get viewed, or you get like hate like it feels really awkward. It feels really weird. And I just know, like, going through this, like, one of my thresholds was like, how far can I go to create for me? Because every time I created something, I was like, that's not far enough, it's not far enough. And then all of a sudden I made the Rahu zone. I was like, I'm gonna make movies. And that felt good. It felt like I came into the alignment with my truest, lowest, like most emotional self, and brought her up into the highest part of me. And that is what I'm talking about here. But I hadn't lived it yet. I just knew it was coming, and here I am here, and I'm like, it feels like Zen. The anxiety I have is because I am behind on other things. There's a lot of like flesh ideas, you know, like I have a lot that I can't let go of. Like while I'm going and heading into this creative space, I also have responsibilities, and I have to also worry about that. But it's like, I don't have to worry. Do not worry when you go into the creative space. And so that's the next threshold I'm trying to reach, is like, don't be afraid to let go of everything. Don't be afraid. And that's very difficult at this moment in time.
You're the one who's working, so now you're going to be rewarded. So keep going. Keep on it. This is for you now. This is your time.
Okay, that felt good. Thanks, Alyssa.
It's been a long time coming for people that follow this divine femininity. Men and women who honor their emotions, who honor their youth and honor their age and honor their ability to create. Who do not plow through women, who do not try to control women or minorities or anyone more in touch with the feminine side, who do not hurt them, bully them, try to put them in submission, tell them that they're too wild. Women are wild. Women want knowledge. That's the feminine side inside of all of us. Eve ate from the apple first, and she's not the one who felt ashamed. It was Adam. Because Adam represents the mind and Eve represents the emotions. The emotions can control knowledge. The mind is weak.
The mind is weak. The mind is this active inferior, where emotions are passive superior. That's what I was trying to say, is like, we have the top of this pyramid here, this masculine energy, and we have the lower part, the feminine energy. Instead of trying to flip it, like in some way, or not flip it, but like replace the man and be the woman on top, it doesn't actually work. You would want to flip the entire thing. You would want to make it the upside down, where what was passive superior was on top and what lay beneath the active inferior. Because if you notice, the mind, when you utilize it too much, you go crazy. You start to like run yourself down like weird roads and like go through weird ideas and believe things that just aren't true, because you might be actively thinking active up here, but it doesn't mean it's superior. Sometimes just feeling it out and waiting it out is superior. And that's why when you are at rest and just at a state of ease, sometimes the best ideas come to you. But in order to get there, you have to actually bypass that anxiety and that worry that actively inferiorly comes back up to haunt you and makes you feel ashamed that you're just laying there. And that's something that I've been doing a lot this year, which has been strange, but it definitely came back up to haunt me. I don't know if you guys in the same kind of understanding, coming back up to haunt you too.
It is knowledge that is power, but knowledge that you have to work for to deserve. That power can live within you, but it has to live low within you. It has to live in your whole entire body. If you try to keep it in your brain will explode.
And that's the thing too, where feminine energy helps the masculine energy, because when it meets in the middle, it's your heart, right? It's love. That's balance. That's why, you know, love, it rules Libra, balance. Venus is Libra, Venus is Taurus. It's that state of rest. And so you have that idea that when it comes down into the middle, but if you start off lower and you give a lot of your energy to your emotions, you can actually get yourself out of anxiety and out of your worry, and find, because you have to go through your heart to find that love, like for yourself, for other people. And it just makes you a better person, like a more whole person.
Our minds do not like that. They want to be happy. Ignorance is bliss. Adam would choose ignorance over eating the apple any day, but it wasn't for Eve. Eve wanted it because the emotions wanted. It's time to honor our emotional nature, because that is the true power. Because that is where the spirit...
And emotions are the mother part of the maiden, mother crone, which I didn't say here, I don't think, but we have the maiden, which is the physical part, the mother is the emotional part, and the crone, which is the spiritual part. So, you know, we come from spirit, born into emotions, and become physical, and then in our life we go backwards. We start out this very physical, go into more emotional, and then more spiritual. And that's actually what sex is too. So I'm gonna talk about sex for a second, because I'm like, whatever, that doctor that talks about sex, Dr. Ruth. When we're younger, like, you know, age of consent in sex, it's very physical. But as we get older, and women get older especially, it is a more of an emotional connection in that sense. So sex gets better. And then when you get into the crone years, sex becomes very spiritual, and it's something that we grow into. And that sex too is that, like, that's the physical, like, connection of love. It's so it goes into that heart area. So that's something interesting.
Spirit lives in our gut and in our intuition. It doesn't exist in our head. Keep your head clear to allow yourself to be free, but keep your body strong with strong boundaries. Just because we're dealing with our feelings doesn't mean that we have to attach to people like empaths. Empath sucks because you're consistently attaching to other people. This is about you and controlling your own power and your own boundaries and your own life. When Saturn moves into Aquarius, we can say that this new age of Aquarius is going to have a lot of complex karma. That will happen in March 21st, July 1st, and then it will go back into Capricorn.
What is that complex karma around March 21st? Anyone? Bueller?
So we'll get a little taste of that in the beginning of the year, or in the springtime. And then we will have 3 lunar eclipses. 3. That means that there are going to be 3 cycles ending in 2020. 3. 1, 2, 3. Moon. This is the year of the feminine. There'll be a lot of bad communication. The best thing to do is to feel what you want to feel, because in May, the North Node is going to move into Gemini. It's spinning Cancer. We've been learning about our feelings, but now we're going to be learning the weight on our mind. And so at first, we are not going to be wanting to hear new knowledge.
Okay, so I actually made videos about Saturn in Aquarius, which just sounds really low on that one, so just FYI. I also made a video on the Gemini North Node transit, so if there's something you want to watch. I also did a video on Jupiter in Capricorn. So that's all another things about this year. And I have a video on Patreon too about all of the transits that I saw. So if that's something that interests you, that will be linked below. But I just want you to know, because I touch on them at the end here, but I just knew that the feeling of the year was much more important. And obviously when Saturn went into Aquarius, that's when a lot of things got locked down. So it wasn't that big of a prediction to say that, ooh, we have a lot of complex karma coming up, because it's true, we did. Saturn Aquarius. And then July 1st, it was like we all became numb to it, right? Like a lot more people were just like, oh fuck, what's next? Oh, aliens? Who cares? Who gives a fuck? That's what happened as soon as Saturn moved back into Capricorn. So that's something that was true, but that's just a Saturn. That's a Saturn transit. It's not that hard to read the Saturn transits when you know what you're looking for.
So that means you have to be strong within your feelings, strong within your body, and that will keep you alive. Otherwise, you will be irritated, aggravated, and anxious, and it will feel like a very strong Mercury retrograde all year. So you got to keep yourself low. The more you get outside of your body, the more you will lose yourself this year. This is not about trying to make things happen. This is about protecting yourself and your own person.
This is very true, and this is part of the reason I've been in anxiety. I kind of hit like this weird spiritual psychosis for a little while, just like outside of myself. I mentioned it in my live, but it happened because I was like, oh, okay, there's all this like downloading knowledge and this stuff. I was like really trying to like understand certain things, and then it just got away from me. My energy got away from me. So I guess I'm in the process of bringing it back, which is hard. I also was doing a ton of chart readings, which really takes it all out. And so I've been trying to bring it back. And it's made me behind on some chart readings, which is like my worst fear. But I've also been like, okay, here, I need to like really satisfy my own energy, bring it back to me before I go back out into the world again, because the anxiety. So thanks, Alyssa, for reminding me.
Energy and working hard on the things that you believe in and that you love. This year is going to require courage, bravery. But for those who've been working on themselves this past year and before, you will receive your reward for that. There will be judgment. And that is your full 2020 prediction.
Okay, so that's not my Instagram anymore. It's not Alyssa_Tran because I lost my name this year. Because you lose everything. Oops, let's stop this. Okay. Yeah, so basically I agree with everything I said. I think some of the stuff I was definitely in tune with. I didn't realize how much it would, like, I don't know. I guess I didn't realize that I would end up doing, I always end up doing the shit that I say not to do. So that's kind of where I am right now. So I would say right now in the center of, not the center, 9 months after this prediction, if you're finding yourself to be anxious, kind of can't get your energy, like really spend time with yourself and try to get your energy back, because it's really important to finish the rest of this year so that you can keep going, keep creating, keep making yourself happen, keep making yourself happen, keep making your future happen. And yeah, I don't know, keeping it together, because it is an emotional year. It just is. It's just going to be, it's an emotional decade. So I'm not wrong about that. I agree with everything that I've said in here. So that's my reaction. I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you on Friday with another Rahu Zone sloth. So please, if you would like to support me in any way, support my creation, because eventually it's just gonna be better and better, because I'm getting more and more used to it. I'm like excited about it. It's something that I'm excited about. But if you're not excited about it, that's okay. I don't need you. And I hope that everybody's on that same page as me. Like, you don't need people to love what you are not. So just remember that. And that's what the Queen says. But that's the feminine energy. It's like, who are you? Be that, and then be loved for that. Okay.